Hello, this is Paul Neafsey from FrontTowardsGamer.com, and we are coming live from the Comic Station for our new segment on comic books. We will be going over what is new, as well as a video review and a recommendation from our resident expert.
Hi, I'm Scott Kaitz of the Comic Station.
Alright, hope you enjoy, and welcome. Alright, we're here with the new releases for January 2nd, and we will be going over some of the new releases as well as bringing out some points for you. The first one we have here is the New Avengers #1 from Marvel Now. You read it, so why don't you speak a little bit about it?
Well, if you're a fan of Jonathan Hickman and Steve Epting, they did the Fantastic Four run from issue number 600 through 613, which was, in fact, fantastic. They seem to have picked up right where they left off with that. This is a great book. It brings the Black Panther back to us, who has been missing now since the end of his run on the Daredevil series. Epting's artwork I really like myself, and Hickman has been nothing short of brilliant lately. I think the book itself, it starts off in Wakanda, and it starts to follow a bunch of students of Wakanda who are learning to become the new leaders of that civilization. It goes someplace into outer space. It looks really good, and I think it has a really bright future ahead of it. I'm going to leave it in Hickman's hands. He has not disappointed me yet, so we'll see where it goes from here.
All right. Next one we have is Morbius #1. This obviously is following the trend of vampires. This is again from Marvel Now.
Spider-Man's one of Spider-Man's arch nemesis throughout the years, and he started to get a slightly more prominent role at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man, which is, now they're going to try him. I don't know if he's a strong enough character to hold his own for a long period of time, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I've been liking... Marvel Now has had some very high highs for me, especially we were mentioning earlier, talking together, Thor. Very high for me, but as well as some misses here and there. Namely Iron Man so far. Really has just... They might get into something more interesting, I just haven't seen it. But as far as Marvel Now is going, I will give it a benefit of the doubt, and I'll be picking it up and reading it. It doesn't hurt that it has a vampire. Doesn't sparkle, though. That's key. Alright. And the next one we have, another one from Marvel, is Punisher Nightmare. #1 of 5. This is a short, limited edition. I tend to like these limited runs more just because you can get 4 or 5 issues and get a story. It does help, obviously, if you have some background and you know the history behind it. But it's also nice just to be able to, especially with how many some of these series are going in hundreds and so forth. It's nice to be able to just pick up 4 or 5 and get a compact story. So
yeah, I like the Punisher. This is the second miniseries that's out currently. He reads well in a short story. When Garth Ennis did his run in Punisher Max, which was 80 issues, that was about as long as I think anybody could really ever take the Punisher. And now what I see, and this sells very well, so I think a lot of people agree with us as far as, a 5-issue series is a perfect run for the Punisher.
Yeah. And who knows, if you pick it up and you enjoy it, maybe you'll want to go and read the 80 issues. So, alright, so check that out. All right. Next one, this is not new, this is actually Hellboy in Hell #2. This was brought up because we have a note that Hellboy #1 sold out, and they will be having a reissue of issue #1 January 30th alongside issue #3. So anyone that missed #1 will be able to pick it up. And it's just nice to have... You don't have to go scrounging for it. You don't have to go on eBay. You'll be able to pick it up in your local store again. Alright. And finally, Mara. This is actually Image Comics, but coming out next week, Brian Wood, who did Mara here, will be coming out for Dark Horse. Will be coming out with Star Wars issue #1. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you got so much history. It is the space opera, basically. And you got a story right there. And from what I've seen so far on a little previews, beautiful artwork, storyline is an integral part of the story. Especially anyone that younger fans will like it because the movies are something easy to drop into. You don't need to have read the hundreds of books of the history and know these random characters, but at the same time, you'll learn more about them. So that's always key in a large universe like that.
That particular book next week is I think we will sell out of it. There's a lot of buzz about it. Star Wars currently has 2 or 3 minis going on right now, and it's Star Wars, so it's going to bring people in now. And I have a lot of confidence in Brian Wood. He's written a lot of good things, so I really don't see the downside to this. Dark Horse should be able to do very well with this title.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Keep out next week. We'll hopefully have a review in time for the release on January 9th, as well as our next issue of the Comic Station videos. All right. Now we're going to go to our segment for the video review, as well as the recommendation. Thank you. All right, this week we are doing the first video review, and for the first episode, I have chosen Alabaster Wolves by Dark Horse. This book was picked up on a whim, actually. Brought me to the cover. Beautiful artwork. Inside, you'll be able to see in my full review. Beautiful artwork. Keeps to the standard as far as the blocks. There's no blending, crossover between the artwork. But it is a beautiful piece of art, and the story has some religious undertones. There seems to be a story on top, as well as a sub-story underneath, and unfortunately it does knock a little bit is the convoluted nature of the second story takes away from the understanding and the clearness of the first story. So there are points where you're sort of sitting there going, what exactly happened? And honestly, but what brought me forward and kept me reading of it was the beautiful artwork and the relatable nature of the characters. As supernatural as they were all believable. So I was reading it and I really enjoyed it. If you want to read the full review, I'll be posting it on frontporchgamer.com soon, hopefully before the next video review. And we're going to go over our recommendation segment.
Well, for me, Paul, this is one of many crossovers, but this is Batman, Death of the Family. Right now, for my money, DC's best title is Batman, by far. It helps the other titles, the other Batman-related titles, the Catwoman's, Batgirl's, Batman and Robin's, Red Hood, Teen Titans, Nightwing. They're all involved with this. But this Batman itself is by far the best written one. Scott Snyder's done a fantastic job. I mean, who doesn't love a Joker story? And he's finally as psychotic as we've ever seen him. There's just lots of great twists in this and all the titles. And this I would highly recommend. For me, this is probably the best DC title since the New 52 has come out. And that's with the other title also being a Batman storyline, but this is by far the best one yet. So my recommendation, get out, read it, try to get all of the parts of it. And if you can't get all the parts of it, when the trade comes out, grab a hold of it.
I've heard some wonderful things about the death of the family, in the family, Batman. And coming from you saying the 52s, I know the New 52 will be playing a part later, as I'm reading a number of them and I'm really enjoying them. So that's high praise right there.
Yeah, I think you would, if you like Batman and you like the Joker, obviously two staples going back 80 plus years at this point. This is the best story, the line that they have done in quite a long time. So do yourself a favor. If you're staying mainstream, this would be the title I would tell you. You need to read.
And this was our first episode, again, January 2nd, for the Comic Station. And thank you very much.
See you soon.